welcome back to Movement Monastery. I'm going to talk to you about how I accomplished this stunt, and with the help of my friend Matt, we worked on this drop repeatedly. He invited me to ASU, and we started working on this drop. Really, it was just a lot of repetition at the bottom level of finding this one area. We were obsessed with descending this one parking structure and finding as many different ways possible to get down this structure, and we tried to find as many different safe ways to practice at a higher level, slowly building it up more and more, and just building on what we already knew. And myself, having doing a recent parking structure, which I'll link to this video as well, that was kind of my first big attempt at doing something like that from the very top. And so then we started working on this one, and this one was a major step up. Like, the first one was difficult for me. This one was like 10 times more mentally difficult for me than the last one we did. Having Matt to train with for this challenge was really something that helped me push me through the entire process. So just keep that in mind. It's always important to have a training partner and someone you can trust to help you through a tough challenge. Now, even though those progressions outside were working, I had to find a more realistic approach to what we were doing. So I set up something inside that had a similar drop and set up where I had to push off from the top and really feel what the drop was like and taking that impact. Alright, so what I've set up here is a more simplistic form of the descent we're trying to do at ASU. My last ascent that I did was actually a lot easier than this. The video might make it look a little bit more technical. It is still technical. There's a lot of fear base involved in it, and there's still a drop involved. But the thing is that the thing I was landing on actually was out from the wall, about maybe this far out. So it made it a lot easier for me to get my feet to it than the thing we're going to be doing this time. So what I've set up here, like I said, is a very simplistic way of doing this. So I like to kind of guide my foot down along the side wall so I can get further down the wall instead of going from that cat hang position, like my legs up higher. So I like to put my feet down lower so I can kick out and then guide myself down to the bottom one. This is about the amount, how much room is on the balcony we're going to be going on, that like of the hanging room down to the chest. So it's going to be good for getting that head clearance and figuring out what that's like. And I think the landing is actually a little bit lower than this. So after I get this a few times and get used to pushing off it with my legs, I'm going to put the lower box in there and get used to that height. But pretty much just kind of getting used to that and really getting my feet to it. And then since there's this other rail that's in the way that we have to kind of avoid when we're doing this, I'm going to try and put a little target zone of where I really want to make sure my toes don't hit as like a danger zone area so I don't clip them on the way down. But yeah, I think one of the reasons why, Dylan Baker and the guys from MERM and everyone just in the genre that's doing really amazing descents, the reason why they're so sought after, in my opinion, is because they have chosen the most simplistic form to do a descent. Keep in mind, a descent does not mean you have to do it this fashion. A descent is just going down from something. You can do it any way you want to. It doesn't make it any less of a descent. But as far as the technicality of it, the fear base, the trust in your technique and form and your strength and all your skill and everything like that, this is one of the more simplistic forms, and this is what I'm trying to chase after because it's one of the fastest ways to get down from something that I feel is useful. Anyway, as I said before, I wanted to make this as context specific as possible. So I set this thing up in front of me so I could actually get used to grabbing for something after I would bounce off. You can see here I'm experimenting with different types of landing positions. Another thing that amazes me with this kind of stuff, like any kind of skill when you start become really proficient at it, is how little like room there is between you succeeding the move and also possibly failing. But because you're fine motor tuning everything so much, like every time I look at this drop, my head does not feel anywhere near that when I drop. But watching the video, I'm like this close to the edge with my head the whole time. So that's amazing that we can kind of fine-tune ourselves to get to that kind of degree of execution. You watch people do Kongs, when they do really far Kongs, right? They have like, they're barely getting their legs past it because they only need to get it so much. And they know the closer that they get to that angle, the farther they can get. I mean, they don't know that, their body knows that, their repetition knows that. But I don't know, I just think that's kind of cool. How as we get better at something, that execution, like in between being like here to like making sure we feel comfortable, comes to like right here we feel comfortable there. And that like happens across all different types of sports and arts. I had originally planned to push off from the side like right here, down lower on the wall, thinking it would make it safer, but later decided to push off from higher up and making my angle coming in a little more sharp. There we go! There we go! First grab, yay! Later that evening, I invited Matt to come train with me at the gym in the same setup that I had done earlier that day. I was getting pretty fatigued by the end of the training though, and really found that I was going to have to take a few days off from that type of experience. Our next step was to just get more and more familiar with the object itself. So we started repetition of the feeling of the drop down and also what the texture of the building was like. And this building was very interesting because it had these weird ridges in it, and so it kind of felt a little weird in your hands. We also wanted to start seeing what it was like to just be up there, higher up and hanging from the top and just seeing the target below us. So we didn't go out there with any thought of actually going for it, but we started to just look at the target and try to see how it felt to be up there and what were our fears exactly, what was stopping us from wanting to do it right then and there. But you can see here, you know, the height that we're at and me still experimenting with different ways of where I want to put my feet on the wall. This was all about experimentation, all about how it felt. I didn't go out there with an expectation of, oh, I'm going to go blast through this or anything through that. During this time, I was just seeing how I felt and what I needed to improve. We're going to go back to the lab and do a little more testing, but I'm feeling stronger about this. I'm starting to, you know, like when I read this in a fantasy book, so I don't know if this is true or not, but sometimes when you do archery, you kind of bring the target towards you versus realizing how far away it is. It kind of starts to scope in, so to speak.
I can definitely.
So,
I mean, like,
what are some things you feel like you have to work on, Matt?
I agree with what you're saying now. I mean, like a year ago, I was looking at this, and this is something that I only dreamed about doing. But you know, within the past few weeks, it's becoming a reality. It's becoming closer and closer. The drop is looking smaller and smaller. But
what is real, Matt?
What is real? Who am I? Existential crisis. But I think for me, it's just going to be landing technique, grip strength, and ability to trust my strength. That's it. Like once I get those three things zeroed in, then I'll be fine.
What if you have two of those already?
So, 2 out of 3 is not bad, right? Just go for it.
Well, I think your grip strength is fine. It has to be. Your landing strength is probably fine. So it's probably just a technical aspect then.
Right.
Okay.
Probably so.
All right. Well, ourselves all matted up. We'll pack up and we're gonna go back to the lab and practice some at a different height. But yeah, it's feeling any of the. I'm looking like every time I go over this, I just look at it and be like, I'm gonna die. And now I'm looking at it and being like, the only thing I'm worried about really now is racking my shin on the edge. That is the only thing that is making me not want to do this now, because of this. These like. So this is probably the most stupid wall ever, because all it is these serrated edges. Yeah, we're gonna come back here with a sledgehammer and just tear them off. So instead of there being a nice textured wall, there's gonna be a nice jagged wall of unfinished. Unless I bring a sander over here too and just grind it all down.
Polish it.
Yeah.
It'll look beautiful when we're done with it, man.
And then we'll take away a whole extra inch of landing. That's gonna be even better, right?
You're right.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna come back to this one later. But I think the next time, for sure I'm gonna do this. Like at least bounce off the wall. I might not go for the grab, but I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see myself do it, and I'm not getting nervous when I think about it. Usually when I get nervous about something, I start to sweat. My hands start to sweat. Mm-hmm. So I'm not. When I think about doing it, I'm seeing myself doing it. I'm not sweating anymore. I'm repeating that motion. So anyway, any last thing to say?
Nope, I think we're all good, man. We just need to practice more. That's it.
More practice. At this point, we just realized that we had to make the drop even bigger than what we were doing, or we're going to have to do, so we were overtraining ourselves. So here we are just trying to see what it's like to drop down to an even farther target, getting really used to repetitions here. This is actually maybe a few inches lower, and inches count, you know, inches count higher or lower and what things are going to feel like. So just tons of repetition here, getting used to that, pushing away, helping each other out. One thing I'm a huge advocate of is the idea that training helps to eliminate fear, so that when you actually get around to the skill you're trying to accomplish, you just go for it, you know? That was a little accident we had in the gym, but yeah, you feel confident in your skill because you've trained it over and over and over again. And then you're able to look at it and say, yes, I can do that. Okay, I'm heading over to train with Matt. We're supposed to do this descent today that we've been training for probably close to a month now. Training for it anyway. It's our first attempt at actually doing the third level to the second level, or something like that. I really don't know which level it is because it's just the level before we hit the floor. So it's like, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, we have to go do this. If we decide not to do it today, if we feel like we're not prepared, if we feel like we are just kind of, what was another word? If we feel like we just need more training to do it, there's no pressure in it. We will come back and do it probably after a month. Give it a break for a while to kind of let other challenges sink in and go like that. I feel like if you can't accomplish a skill set like this that's really high fear-based, and you've gone back to it several times, you need to take a break, obviously, and go on. We're focused on other things a little bit and come right back to it. Sometimes by doing that, you will actually give yourself the confidence to do it because you won't be thinking about it all the time. We're pretty fixated on this right now, so we want to make sure that we don't get too drawn into it to the point where we kind of lose the whole aspect of training for other things as well. So looking forward to that today. I hope we go ahead and do it. I'm feeling pretty confident. He said he's feeling pretty confident, and we had a super great training session just working this setup we did at the gym where we had to hit a smaller and smaller target from higher and higher up every time. So I think that's a really good indicator that we're going to do pretty well. In any case, yeah, so let's see what happens. All right, so I'm here with Matt. We met up. We have the mat set up. Just doing some warm-up work, and it's feeling pretty good today. He's pretty sore from training yesterday, so we'll see if he wants to go through with this or not. I definitely feel like I feel up to it today, so I'll go up there and take a look, see what it feels like. So again, we started out with just some warm-up drops. I was pretty much ready to do this at this point. I didn't feel like I had to do a bunch of these, and when it comes to situations like this, I don't like, oh, that guy up there, he was like, oh, is he jumping from there? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, that's awesome. Anyway, I don't like to walk around and think about the whole thing. Once I am devoted to doing something, I'm pretty clear about my intentions and what I want to do. So this situation was pretty clear to me. I felt strong. That day I felt fresh, and it was time to do it. I said, I'm going to look over the edge, and if my body says yes, if my mind says yes, I'm going to trust my skill and I'm going to go. And this is what I did. Yes, 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 you did. The bus driver was giving us thumbs up, so that's always nice getting that encouragement from people around you. The second attempt I did was fine with the bounce off. I tried to grab the wall and they didn't pull back in quite right, so I slipped right down. Ended up getting a gnarly bruise on my leg from hitting the wall, but it wasn't that bad. I had the mats down. I was okay. I ragdolled when I hit the floor, so I didn't really take the hit as hard as it sounded. It just was a thump because of the mat. And, some nice scratches.
Yeah.
You know?
They might even come back to the wall. They went to the wall, but they went straight down. Okay. They didn't come out and in. Okay.
on this final attempt here, I actually end up hitting the bar a little bit on the way down.
Yes!
You heard that little ping there? That was my feet hitting it. Compressed my ankle a little bit, but it wasn't enough to stop me.
All right, that one hurt a little bit. So we had a passerby. What'd you think about that?
Oh man, that took my breath away.
Thanks so much, man.
I wasn't sure what was gonna happen next, but glad you're all right.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Later that week, I decided to come back out with Matt and give him an attempt to work this while he was fresh.
All right, we're back here. It's been about a week. I did mine on Monday. It's the first cold day of Arizona, so we're being a bunch of... Yeah, pretty much. It is cold. I'm wearing a sweater. I mean, it's funny because in the shade it's really cold, and in the sun it's not that bad.
300 degrees.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, feeling pretty good today?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna practice a few bounce backs and then go for the skill.
Cool. Set this guy down over here.
If you want to see how this ended up, please go to the end, and there's a little interview with Matt at the end as he reflects on what happened this day.
It's okay to yell too.
Yell.
Ah! Yeah, man, it helps. I mean, it's not a bad thing by any means to
My phone is dead.
to key eye or anything like that.
The longer I'm up here, the less likely.
Yes.
So what's happening is my vision sees the ledge, but it's focusing on my peripherals, on the background.
Okay.
I have to focus in on the ledge and commit to that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm gonna try smacking you around a little bit.
Smack me around. Thanks, man.
You can do this.
Okay.
Okay. You can do it.
I know. I know. Target. What? Target. Target. Right here. The ledge. Yes.
Go.
What's in your mind, Matt?
No, I'm starting to think that I can do it. But I know I can. Like, I've been prepping all week, and every time I've thought about it or it's come to my mind, it's been a success. And it's been, oh, I can do it. I've trained it. I want to do it. I have the passion and the desire to do it. I can do it. And now I'm thinking, I can't do it. Like, the mental, like the whole mentality just switched over.
Yeah. So do you think that, see, this is where I'd let go, or like when I first went up there, whether or not I mean, if I didn't think I was going to make it, I would have not let go. I would have been like, no, you know. We did it enough times in the gym, right? But now we have to go back and do it again. You know, do a few more times in the gym, like in that controlled setting where you feel comfortable and you can just repeat that process. And you really, you know, you have to kind of give yourself that, what's it called? In my opinion, this might not work for you, but it works for me. Okay, you could. The reason why I don't think about a whole lot is just because of the fact that I know if I wait up there too many times, then I start to feel like, okay, less and less and less. Okay, it's called stepping into the avatar. You've heard about that before, I'm sure, right? Where you have this kind of, it's the strongest version of you, right? And when you step into that, you can do anything. Yeah.
Right.
But if you keep stepping out of that, every time you take a step back from it, you're stepping out of your avatar. You know, once you step into it, you got to keep going with it. You know, and this is good because now you went up there, you've been over that edge more times than we've been out here training. You know, so that's good because now you know what it's like to be out on the ledge. Right now, we just have to have the feeling of letting go, dropping down. You know, getting the feel of that. And you know, then when you're up there, you come out there, you give yourself a limit. Okay, 3 times. I'll go out there 3 times. If I don't go by the 3rd time, I'm going to leave because if you go, so then you start regressing further and further and further down that line, right? So now you got to build that back up again.
Right.
You know, so that's another reason why, like, I'm out there 3 times. I'm like, okay, it's just not going to happen. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, because like when I went up there the first time, I realized how easy hanging over the on the ledge was. Because I remember on Monday, that was like Monday and the time before that, it was terrifying. That alone was like a big challenge for me. And then today I was just like easy. It was like, okay, this is how this should feel. And then I was hanging in like a really good cat position, as opposed to like this like crummy cat position.
Yeah,
like,
you're getting
scared.
faster. I can see it.
Right, and then like the ledge looks like obtainable. Like the drop looks obtainable. It looks like I can make it. Before, when I was up there, it looked like it was 1,000 miles away. But now it's like, okay, it looks like I can land it. And the very first time, I was like up there smiling because I'm like, this is doable. This is easy. And then I climbed over, and that's where I messed up, when I climbed back over instead of letting go.
Yeah.
Because the next time I climbed over, it was a little bit further and it was a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And the next time I climbed over, it was back to where I was on Monday.
So I mean, that's kind of probably the way I felt maybe 2 weeks ago. You know, same thing. I was over there, I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's within my reach. If I let go right now, I probably could hit it. But I wanted a little bit more practice, like in a more specific setting.
Right.
So, you know, maybe it's next week, maybe it's the one after that, you know, things like that along the way. But either way, just take it back to the drawing board and just treat it at that. This is not, you know, this is not an indicator of, this is an indicator that training works.
Yeah.
You know, the training works because it just says, okay, I need to do this more to get more comfortable doing it. It's not an indicator of, I mean, this is a difficult thing to do because this is pretty much 100% fear. We've done the jumps, we've done the drops, you know, we've done the precisions, we know what all that feels like, right? But this is 100% getting, pretty much feeling that you're, the risk is very small because you've done it so many times, you know? So just consider that. It's not today it feels like shit, I know. Today it feels like shit, okay? But an hour from now, maybe it will, but once we get away from this area, because right now this area is kind of this energetic vortex right now, you know? So every time you come here, you're going to be thinking about this.
That's
you know?
really you said that, because even when we were like driving, like when Sophia and I was driving up and we parked, I felt the energy. Like,
yeah, it's waiting for you.
yeah, it's waiting,
you know?
Exactly. And you know, I think
It's like a little coin you got to let go of, just to let go and drop through this coin to get that extra little spot unlocked, man. You know?
you're right. But it's like, you know, like you were saying, really is a testament to training, because one of the first things that I thought about when I came here this morning was, have I done it enough times in the gym? And I should already have that like checked off, right? I should already done it enough times in the gym. I shouldn't have that thought. So it's like, maybe the training, maybe there needs to be more training in the gym. But there has to be a point where I understand the risk, I understand the fear, and I understand my training, but I still let go. Like, you can't train that in the gym, because like it has to be done right here.
Yeah. That's why things outside are worth 10 times what they're worth inside.
Exactly. And it's crazy, because like I know I'm so close to that drop. And like that's what I want to do, like, in terms of parkour, is that kind of stuff. And
yeah.
Like if I would have a goal or a dream in parkour, it'd be to do that, and I'm so close to unlocking that.
But then what happens when you get that?
Then you got to do more.
Yes, that's the thing, man. Is like, it's good to have a goal, but that's not the end goal. Right. You know, I mean, after I did mine, I was like, well, now I got to do it 50 more times. You know, you broke the barrier. Now you got to train within the barrier. So let's walk away from this place. Okay, we'll come back to it again. And when you're ready, you're ready. You know? Yeah.
Thank you.
And now you have a dragon. This is your dragon. Yeah, dragons are pretty cool, but you got to slay this one.
You gotta slay it.
Yeah, this is the jerk dragon.
I can't keep it as a pet.
No, you can't.
You gotta just
Not this dragon. This is like a Maleficent dragon. It's just, dragon that spews green fire.
Fire and ice. All right. Well, back to the drawing board. We'll get it soon, though.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
No.